Watch how Robert Jenrick brings the House of Commons to a standstill with a brutal takedown of Labour's wasted years. As MPs jeer and tensions explode across the chamber, Jenrick fires back with a scathing attack that leaves the government under pressure. Before we continue, hit like and subscribe to Britain Daily for more explosive political coverage. Let's watch this explosive clip.
Well, what a complete shambles. Less than 2 years ago, this government was elected with the largest majority any government has been elected, bar one, in 100 years. People across our country, including most in my home county of Nottinghamshire, put their trust in this party. Why? Because they promised change. They said they would do things differently, they would be better, they would end the chaos, they would put country before party. And where are we? Where are we less than 2 years later?
You're in a different party.
We're here. We're here. Where are we? We're here.
You used to be there.
We're here. Well, the honourable member says, why did I change party? Well, I'll tell you why I changed party. I'll tell you why I changed party. Because millions of people across this country look upon the performance of the last government as this one, and they say these are wasted years, that our country needs real change, and yet we see nothing for it. This government, let's be honest with ourselves, lies in ashes. It's failed. An air of unreality hangs over this debate. Members queue up to speak as if this is a normal King's speech. The Prime Minister summoned the King, the crown, the golden carriages, the fanfares of the trumpets. For what? To paper over the cracks of his failing government. This, as we all know, is a lame duck government presided over by a lame duck Prime Minister. Where is the Prime Minister? He's in his bunker. Where's most of the cabinet? They're plotting. I'm surprised that so many members are here. Maybe they're filling in the time before the change of government. These have been wasted years. This is what Winston Churchill said of the 1930s when he described them as years that the locusts eaten. Totally wasted time. At a moment where in our hearts, each and every one of us know this country faces the most profound challenges, at least since the 1970s, perhaps more so. We have stagnating economic growth. We have rapid deindustrialization of our country. We have demographics that pose immense challenges. We have public finances that are on the rocks and getting worse with every passing day. We've got out of control illegal migration. We've got social cohesion challenges of the type we've never known as a country. Our streets feel increasingly lawless. Our town centres are hollowed out. And these problems cannot all be placed at the door of this Labour government. They are as a result, let me finish my point, they are as a result of 25 years of failed politics in this country by both of the two main political parties and all those that have gone along with it. And yes, I hold myself partly responsible for that. That is why I chose to walk away from that party and to do something new. But I'm afraid today we see on each and every one of those measures, things are getting worse. 70,000 people have crossed on small boats. I'll give way in a moment. Mass migration remains rampant. The public finances are getting worse. Look what the markets are saying, where the cost of borrowing is going up and the pound is falling. Unemployment is rising. Great proud industries, like one in my constituency the other day, NSK, a business that makes steel ball bearings, gone bust because of uncompetitive energy prices and unfair competition from China. Hundreds of people thrown onto the scrap heap now looking for new jobs in North Nottinghamshire. Unemployment, youth unemployment, the worst that we've known it. Record high taxes and borrowing. Our country is in a mess. Britain is broken. And yet so little is being done.
Sure is.
And even where the government has acted, we all know it's made things worse. Look at our farmers. Look at our farmers. The attempt by the Chancellor to impose the family farms tax, only partially U-turned upon, has caused immense pain and suffering to thousands of farmers across our country, including many in my own rural constituency of Nottinghamshire. I went earlier last year to meet a farmer in West Yorkshire whose father had taken his own life by hanging himself in a barn the night before the budget. because he had read the briefing that the Chancellor had put out. Correct. But wrongly feared that the measure would come in the next day. He killed himself. He's not alone. Think of the pain and suffering that some of members of our armed forces have felt as a result of the thus far failed attempt to deal with the issues in Northern Ireland. The bravest of the brave, the men who served in Northern Ireland during the period of the Troubles, now facing a knock on the door or a letter through the letterbox, whilst the last government, for all its failings, attempted to give a degree of immunity to those men so that they would never have to live out the last days of their life facing prosecution in the courts or wasting their life savings on legal fees. Think of what's happening to businesses the length and breadth of our country. The cost of employing people going through the roof as a result of the Chancellor's national insurance increases, making it more difficult to employ people just at a moment where unemployment is rising, where AI is transforming our economy. We're a 90-95% service-based economy, one of the most exposed economies in the Western world to AI. Just the moment to increase the cost of employing people. Look at small businesses like pubs being battered by increases in business rates and every single cost. I will give way in one moment. I'll come back to that. On every measure where the government has tried to do things, it's made things worse. I'll give way.
Thank you, my Deputy Speaker. And I do thank him for giving way. He's clearly rehearsed this speech well in front of the mirror. And so I do thank him. But he's been speaking now for 7 minutes. I fear he's learnt well from his master, and I don't mean the one in Thailand. There's long description of all the problems in the country, but no solutions. 7 minutes without a positive policy offer for this people in this chamber and also for his constituents. 7 minutes.
Let me give the honourable gentleman some then. Because we all know this King's speech is not worth the paper that it's written on. There's nothing in it. It is, as a former minister, made up of the very policies that officials draw out of the third drawer of a desk and hand to weak, inept ministers who have no ideas of their own and say, here you go, minister. Here's a substitute for your own thoughts. Well, I'll tell you some things that we would do. I'll tell you some things that Reform would do, were there a Reform government. Number one, we would get a grip on the ballooning benefits bill. Let's get the millions of people in this country who are out of work back into the workplace in order to get the benefits bill down as a moral imperative. Why write off millions of our fellow citizens, especially the young? How can people be off work with mild anxiety? How can we have people claiming PIP who haven't even been to a face-to-face appointment with a genuine clinician? This is madness. It has to change. Of course we want, as a country, a proper safety net. But that's not what we have today. We all know it. At the moment we have a farce where people are choosing not to work. That can change. It won't change under this Labour government, but it can change. And we can save billions of pounds for it. I'll give you a second thing. We'll scrap net zero so that we end the deindustrialisation of our country. Steel, chemicals, fertilisers, glass, ceramics, car making, jobs, 2 million jobs depend on high energy intensive industries. All will be gone within the next 10 years. And I wager that many members opposite represent the good, decent, patriotic Brits who work in those businesses. You are selling them down the river. We need to end net zero, adopt a pragmatic and intelligent way to decarbonise our economy that doesn't immiserate working people and ruin what remains of our heavy industry. Those are two things that we could do. I'll give you a last one. End illegal migration. And the way that we do that is not merely to stop the boats, but to end the farce that people come here on ILR, knowing that they will ultimately become citizens of this country on a short path and cost hundreds of billions of pounds to the Exchequer. Now, the Labour Party has a policy, we're told, that takes us some way to that. But then we have the Right Honourable Lady for Ashton-under-Lyne saying that the Home Secretary should be sacked for having the audacity to propose some pretty weak but nonetheless sensible changes to our legal and illegal migration systems. That gives you a clue about what is to come. So I'll finish on this point, Madam Deputy Speaker. Today is a pantomime. Today is a pantomime. We know this King's speech doesn't exist. We know this King's speech will be chucked into the dustbin in a few months' time. Maybe there'll be another King's speech. What we know is what follows will almost certainly be worse. The fate of our country, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, doesn't rest on what's happening in this chamber. It rests on the Labour Party members who will choose the next Prime Minister. Because the Prime Minister's finished. We all know that. And what comes then will be more failed policies, no answers to the challenges that face our country, no response to the yearning that is in the country for real change. The only way to achieve that, and we all know, is a general election.
What you've just watched was far more than political theatre. It was a reflection of the growing frustration boiling across Britain. Robert Jenrick's speech struck a nerve because millions of people listening at home feel exactly the same way. They're tired of promises, tired of excuses, and tired of watching politicians argue while ordinary families struggle to get by. That's why the Commons' reaction was so explosive. The jeering, shouting and interruptions only added to the tension, as Jenrick accused Labour of wasting years while the country faces rising bills, economic uncertainty, pressure on public services, and communities feeling increasingly ignored. Whether you agree with him or not, the anger in that chamber reflected a much bigger national debate about trust, leadership, and whether Westminster is truly delivering for the people who sent them there. For many viewers, politics is no longer abstract. It's personal. It's the weekly food shop getting more expensive. It's struggling businesses. It's young people wondering if they'll ever afford a home. It's pensioners worrying about heating bills, and parents working harder but falling further behind. That emotional frustration is exactly why clashes like this are resonating with so many people across the country. And with tensions inside Parliament rising week after week, this political battle is clearly far from over. If you enjoyed this explosive Commons debate, make sure you hit like, subscribe to Britain Daily and turn on notifications so you never miss the biggest political clashes shaking Westminster live.